All right, we're back learning the dent. Going to do that without the voice crack this time. Oh, jeez.
Try it with the accent this time.
Oh, no. I lost it, Les.
Oh, man, I meant to tell you that the other day. I saw somebody just do a brutal, takedown of some, not for the thing, it was on a show. Somebody was like, well, I'll sneak in and I could do like a German accent. He goes, cool. Try it with the accent now. It's like, oh man, I'm fucking
devastating.
Hip-pocketing that burn.
Devastating.
For the next time that someone's like, I've got a pretty good accent, and then breaks into it like, cool. Now say it with the accent. Episode 481 of the TV Dudes, recorded April 4th, 2024. Renegade Nell. This week, we're talking about the new Disney Plus series about a superpowered young person wrongfully accused and hunted.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying X-Men 97. Just a really great revival.
No, not the X-Men. Not the X-Men. Well, I mean, okay, we will talk about X-Men 97's new episode later, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. But right now I'm talking about Renegade Nell, starring Louisa Harlan from Dairy Girls.
Oh, gee, Orla!
The one and only. We'll see if she's got what it takes to step up and avenge her father, save her siblings, maybe stop an evil wizard, all while taking the lead in a show.
Before we get to all that, I'm Nick.
And I'm Les, and I'm not doing the accent.
I suppose actually in Renegade Nell she's doing more of a British rather than an Irish thing, but I was doing her Dairy Girls thing.
Right. Orla. Oh, the best part of that show.
But anyway, yeah, this is an interesting week on TV, Les. We, of course, should probably start with what our listeners have thought about TV in general. Let's go. Should we start with the TV Dudes Tune In?
I think we should. We've been asking the big questions. We've been asking the hard questions, the tough questions that everybody in America's got to face this year. Friends versus The Office. The ultimate sitcom showdown.
It's like a versus post? Okay.
Yeah. I don't like them any more than anybody else does, but they get traction. Folks on the internet, it turns out, like to argue. This one's pretty easy. I actually don't really care for either of these shows. Like, I find both of them unwatchable now. I did watch the whole first season of Friends my freshman year of high school, I think. And I remember I've watched a ton of The Office, but somehow both shows just kind of bum me out. Nick, I know you personally hate Friends. Is that right?
Yeah.
Not the show. Not the
show too.
Yes.
No, I hate the general concept of the
friendship.
I really resent the social contract that like anyone I meet and interact with long enough considers me their friend. I do not. I will accept acquaintance as best, but friends as a concept, I'm not a fan. The show is even more so.
Well, I think Danny Doggett nailed it once again. I say this with no irony, says comment. The Office is less sexist, less racist, less homophobic, less mean-spirited, makes fun of fat people less, and actually pays off the will they won't they better.
It was
most importantly, The Office is funnier. Friends points they kept their cast the whole season.
Yeah, it was made a decade or so after Friends, right? Like, it could only the passage of time doesn't help any sitcom.
No,
really,
no.
But Friends, God, that show is so white. It's like,
and I would wholesale agree. Jim and Pam whoops Ross and Rachel every single time any matchup. John Paul Vitale said, "I mean, The Office is definitely aged better, barring the one blackface gag." And it's closer in line to what we think of TV sitcoms now in terms of intentionally awkward humor and no laugh track. Friends was, though, quite literally must-see TV for several seasons. But times have changed, and we have changed. I think that's a good point. And then Dennis McElwain, The Office, because the Friends characters just kept getting more and more annoying. But I think Chad Earhart sums it up beautifully. The Office. I hate Friends.
Yeah. I don't really have a dog in that fight. I did not watch either show as much.
Did you watch our other big fight question?
Buffy versus Supernatural? I watched all of Buffy, and I've watched you were a Supernatural fan, and
fun fact, it's not possible to have watched all of Supernatural.
Not at the rate that they make it.
No,
my friend Travis is actually a big Supernatural fan, so I've seen a bunch of like the high concept episodes.
Right.
I've seen like the
someone took you through the Halloween heists of it.
Scooby-Doo crossover. There was the Groundhog Day episode. I saw the one where they have their convention that's about them.
Yeah.
Like I've seen all the like really meta episodes and not really, I think, a regular episode of Supernatural.
Yeah. Their regular episodes are just kind of slightly grown up. Are You Afraid of the Dark?
This one didn't seem to have as much contention, although Alex Mitchell says Buffy not even a contest, to which Andreas, I'm not even going to pronounce that last, Gipparchus, disagrees.
Please tell me if I'm wrong on that.
Supernatural to the death. Some strong words right there. And Catherine O'Malley says, I'm going with Buffy here.
Yeah. I think John Paul actually got into it a little bit. Buffy was the better show, better character development, better story arcs, but it was kind of a shit show behind the scenes with Joss acting like a dictator. Supernatural was pretty far up its own ass with the whole Angels and Crowley and Lucifer stuff, but it also had cool meta episodes and weird one-off episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, I mean, Buffy also had, Once More with Feeling and a lot of stuff like that.
I guess I would prefer no chaos in TV making, but I guess if you're going to have chaos, have it be behind the camera.
Right, right. He does bring up something that I think everybody ought to just take a moment and remember. Nathan Fillion, TV's erstwhile rookie, was a killer priest.
Caleb the killer priest. Yep. Yeah. No, he was like the medium bad before like the acolyte like there.
Yes, that's right.
For the big bad. That was just the evil? What did they name that last generic fucking villain? That was like all the villains.
God, it really was. It was just something like that.
Like the source or the first, right? No, that was man, fuck it. I don't care.
I would say that this would mean we should go back and watch all of Buffy again, but I don't know if I'm up
honestly, that last season of Buffy is so grief porn that I'm not
Nothing
excited
to me is as bad as the Initiative. I fucking hate the Initiative.
Really?
I hated what's that doof man? He was the
Riley.
Oh my god.
Oh come on, Riley's not that bad.
Jay Courtney. That's Jay Courtney, right?
No, it's not.
It's Scott Eastwood.
No, it's another white guy, like another generic white looking dude.
East Scottwood.
What? Riley's worst crime is that he's boring. Like,
yes.
And Buffy needed a boring. Like she just got out of Angel, but she needed a boring, nice relationship.
Man, he's
before falling in with
so
Spike.
Rebound.
You're discounting the value of rebound guys, okay? They have a place in society and a function. And Riley, I see you and respect you.
Riley, I don't respect you. I sometimes see you and I'm mad.
Wow. Some hot Riley hate, which
right?
I don't think is not exactly uncommon.
Well, I don't know about you, Nick, but all that TV chat online has put me in the mood this past week for some watching of my own.
Sure.
Why don't we check out the Diaries?
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
What did we watch this week?
God, what didn't we watch? Well, I mean, a ton of stuff. There's so much TV.
Well, we did mention X-Men 97. So,
yes.
What was that this week? That was the Mojo. It was like the two-parter.
Motendo. Life Death.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I think the one thing that we mostly discovered this week, other than what technomancy is, or whatever the hell his power, Forge's power is, I think we discovered that X-Men 97 can't set up a love interest worth a shit.
Well, I mean, at least Jubilee and Sunspot had a previous episode. Like, if you had just watched this episode, that kiss would have come out of nowhere.
Right, but at least they did.
But Storm and Forge, I was like, what? I was legitimately shocked when Forge went in for the kiss.
Yeah. I did not see that kiss coming.
What?
Even and it's Life Death. Like, this is a comic I'm aware of. It's a love story. It says a love story on its damn cover.
Mm-hmm. And I honestly, I think it's because, and I know I harp on this every week, and it's going to be the problem of X-Men 97 going forward if it gets more seasons. It's the dialogue. It sucks. I hate it. Like, the dialogue is...
But Nicholas.
Because
Why do you think the dialogue is so stiff?
Because the Forge and
It's
Storm,
difficult to
the way
say.
Forge and Storm talk to each other, I don't think it's possible to build up chemistry like that.
It's not.
Like
It's so
Storm
awkward.
still talks like a Olympic god cast down to earth.
Right.
Like even Thor comes off as more relatable and loquacious. Like
Right. Like, well, Thor talks weird, but he's not going to sneer at you for tapping a keg. Storm is going to side-eye the shit out of you.
Yeah. No, I liked this episode. I felt it was a little bit weaker as far as, I mean, the arcade references in the Mojo thing were real fun, and I like Jubilee as an older version of herself, like, which is the only older version. Like X-Men meet the older versions themselves all the time, and they're always from a bad future that are like, and they suck, and they're always downers. And I like that Jubilee older was like, no, video games rule.
Yeah. I realize that I just said that X-Men 97 can't set up a romantic interest or anything, but man, young Jubilee and old Jubilee have chemistry. Like, they really do. They really do.
Well, if it's good enough for Loki.
Right.
Like,
Man, and when old Jubilee looks at her and is like, so I know you want to stay. Like I know so we're the same person, and I know the temptation. I know you're thinking it.
honestly, I know, now I know for sure they're not going to do Wolverine and Morph, because I feel that chemistry. Like,
Right.
and that can't be intentional.
That's how you know they're not going to do it.
That, like, oh no, that's accidental. Like,
We also watched another cartoon this week, Ark the animated series.
holy shit, Ark was really good.
So I knew nothing, but this is a video game, I assume.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay, I knew nothing about this. I went and looked it up online to see how it was doing, and all I saw were people who had put in like they'd have a comment of like, I've got 400 hours in this game, and then like the next paragraph would be about how much the show sucked.
Mhm.
And how they just ruin everything and they don't use their PhD enough, and I'm like, I'm sorry, this show already feels like they're slightly slipping in some school homework to it,
Right.
but you guys want more.
That
Okay.
was no. I think Ark is a very heavily like, not like Eve online,
Like
which
massive multiplayer kind
is,
of thing.
yeah, but it is a level of like gamer nerd number crunching, like nerdy game. Like,
Okay.
So
Well, man, it sounded like it's not going over. I don't know. The couple of threads I found sounded like people were not liking it. Everybody listening, have y'all watched Ark, the animated series over on Paramount?
Not.
Have you played the game? If you have either one, let us know what you think of it, or go check out the show. Man, I did not know anything about this. I did not know what to expect. It took a couple of episodes. It took till the full end of the pilot for me to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
But this was pretty cool, man.
Well, I mean, it takes a little long to get in there in the first episode, but it does get to fucking dinosaurs
Dude,
eating people.
Dude, Riverworld style.
Hell yeah.
Basically, every character is from a different time period, and they're just waking up on this beach, right?
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
Riverworld. And then,
Like Bob from the 40s,
Right,
pour
right.
one out for Bob.
yeah. And you got, paleontologists from basically modern time, like our times. And you've got, like, centurions. And you've got
Mhm.
cavemen. And
The most
also-
Scottish centurion you've
yeah.
ever
Oh,
seen.
my God. Gerard Butler. Not bothering to change his accent. one
Why?
bit.
He didn't bother to do it in the Egyptian movie. Why the
Fuck it.
fuck
Why
would he
would I
do
do
it
it now?
here?
What the Romans didn't conquer Scotland. Yeah. So you got all these different time period people, you got all this different tech, you got different levels of science that starts to put a strata. Our character wakes up and there's already like a civilization and factions and people are mad at each other. There's already
Yep.
long-standing history with the other.
Oh yeah, she runs
various
into
time
Michelle
people.
Yeoh's character
Yeah.
and is like, who's the beast mistress?
There's already been an alliance like formed and broken. In terms of world building and dropping me in and immediately getting me interested, this thing had a cool immediate world for her to fall in, and also dinosaurs. It has
Right.
dinosaurs. It has
For
so
sure.
many real dinosaurs.
And laser weapons
And
that
lasers.
that they don't use enough, in my opinion. But I think that's coming in the second season. Also, the storytelling in it I thought was very well done. As far as they do, like for Michelle Yeoh's, I forget her name right now,
Mhm.
but they go into her back. Like, what's fun about it is they go into people's backstories before they get, because they get here when they die,
Mm-hmm.
and so you can go into their backstories and see the lead up to how like that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And her backstory like reflects what's going on at the very tail end of this, like at the very end episode here of her coldly abandoning her brother and our protagonist not abandoning her.
Yes.
And I thought like that was like, wow, this is really tight, wound together.
That was really
parallel
beautifully done.
storytelling.
Like in her backstory, somebody manages to get the better of her because
Not
they
only-
they
make
count
the
on
bet.
her. Yeah, they make a bet on her being a cold bitch.
Yeah, like
and
we were struggling. We were struggling on where to set up this trap, here or where your brother was, and I was the one that pitched that you are a cold-hearted bitch,
and you
and
will
that,
not save
that
your
you
brother.
wouldn't save your brother. So
And everybody else was like, no psycho would do that.
Like,
and I
and-
was like, this one will.
yeah, so
But then they parallel it with a modern time where we got another character and they do the opposite because she's
and Gerard Butler's Centurion dude makes the bet of like, I can tell you're gonna come
You're a
try and
softie.
save her. You're soft, and sets up the trap the opposite way. And I'm like, wow, really way to set that up, that dynamic, and prove Michelle Yeoh's the error of her ways. But speaking of period piece warriors, I also watched a bunch of Warrior, now that it's hit Netflix.
yeah, that was the Cinemax show that was originally I think developed by Bruce Lee for
He
himself.
wrote
before he
it,
died,
or
you know?
before he or something for him. Like this was he didn't get kung fu,
Mhm.
and I think he did. Yeah,
He was like developing this and then died.
you definitely tell there's the hints of that his Bruce Lee in the main character.
Yeah, so I had watched probably half the first season of this when
Mhm.
it was first dropping on Max, and then fell off of it for a while. But I watched part of it while you were watching, and man, I forgot how fun a show it was.
Yeah.
And some of the cool choices they make, like with the dialogue, everybody's speaking Chinese,
Mhm.
and they do like a camera turn trick
Sure, yeah.
to show you that, like, yo, they're still speaking Chinese.
And they'll keep doing throughout the show when they show a white person in the frame, you'll hear Chinese,
Mhm.
and then when it's just the Asian people in the frame, you'll hear either speaking Cantonese. Yeah, they say
Cantonese, probably.
Cantonese. But the real problem of the show is just that it focuses on a lot of these white people going forward that kind of doesn't matter and don't care.
Mhm.
Honestly, this third season completely forgets about one of those white bitches that, like, the chick that he hooks up with in the first season.
Yeah.
She at the end of the second season, she gets condemned to a psych ward for women.
Okay.
Hysteria. They haven't dropped. I've watched 4.
She's just gone.
And she's just gone. They don't care about
Okay.
her. They don't care about that story. She had a sister that was dating one of the other characters.
Uh-huh.
Nope, gone.
All of it gone.
All of it's gone, and because they don't care.
You think
Like,
they got a note of like, hey, stop caring about the like?
But
please,
they
please
replaced-
focus on the Chinatown.
But they
characters.
replaced her with another fucking female white character that's just dating the brothel mistress.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I was rewatching season 1. I was getting back into it, and it sounded like season 2 did some cool stuff. But you said season 2 wrapped up well, but had a lot of meandering new onions, like new.
Well, they introduce a new character
That is
that
certainly a slur. I feel like
they-
outside
they
the context of that show, I'm not should not say onion.
I'm not 100% sure. They've introduced a new character that like is a new fighter that is gay that doesn't come up in that season. In the third season, now he's looking like he's going to get a boyfriend, but like he didn't have anything to like. Why did you introduce a character that has nothing to do
Yeah,
this season?
that's weird.
It feels like it lacks focus, and where it allocates story is unbalanced.
Speaking of lacking focus and where it allocates story, we watched a movie I was super excited about that just infuriated me.
Man, fuck Lisa Frankenstein.
Fuck that movie, dude.
I suppose I should have waited to know what you were talking about,
No,
but
you
I knew
knew.
what you were talking
You
about.
So we watched Lisa Frankenstein, which Diablo Cody. It's directed by Zelda Williams.
Yeah.
I was really stoked about this movie. I'd heard really cool things about it in the theater. This feels so half baked to me.
The writing doesn't do it any favors as far as Diablo Cody. She can write dialogue for sure.
No, the dialogue
dialogue
occasionally
crackles.
there's some crackling dialogue in this. She is damn good at that.
But the concepts of what it's trying to do and what the movie's even about escape me, and the directing doesn't feature the horror it needs to or the comedy.
no,
Like,
it
it doesn't
lean
help.
in either way.
It needs different angles and editing to help either of those things.
Right.
And yeah, man, I now barely remember what the movie, because it's not really.
Well, I spent the
About
first half
any-
of it going, so this isn't a Frankenstein thing. This is a zombie thing.
No, this is a zombie thing that has a Frankenstein veneer over it because of the Victorian.
Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
oh God, then it ends with, I guess
I mean, there's a cute story here of a girl that builds her own boyfriend and fixes, like, she has a broken boyfriend and fixes him throughout the rest of it.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember particularly, so the movie starts with Lisa as a young girl. Her last name is actually Swallows in the movie.
which
As
is
a
a joke,
young girl.
joke they never go
They
for.
Never go for.
I mean, don't name her Swallows, but whatever.
But she's out in a graveyard near where she's growing up, and she's doing like gravestone rubbings and like she has like a Jane Austen dreamy romance with one of the guys that she talks to all the time, or at least that's what I thought we were doing at the start of it. But then later on, when he actually rises from the dead to be with her, on at least 3 occasions, she flat out tells him, "No, I'd never liked you. I just happened to be pining on your grave, I guess by accident, or I think at one point she's like, I didn't want to be with you. I just wanted to be dead."
She wants to use him to get in the pants of this other guy.
Well, and later she says it like all her romantic stuff she said to him was really her saying suicidal stuff. Like, I didn't want to be with you. I wanted to be dead. And that's so
sure.
That's so not what the movie sets up.
I also thought it was going to be more science based, but she basically makes a wish on the grave.
Yes. And he just comes back. Yeah.
Honestly, the highlight is the stepsister character.
Yes.
Taffy. Taffy rules. Taffy is so fun because she's the kind of stereotypical cheerleader bitch character, but she's also kind of on our main character's side.
Right. She
I'm in
never
your corner.
stops being Taffy.
Because that's how she thinks she's helping.
Right. Yeah, I absolutely love Taffy about made the movie. But all in all, like, if you considered watching Lisa Frankenstein, go find a movie called My Boyfriend's Back, which hand to God is the better version of this.
Dude, where are they going to find that fucking movie?
I don't know. I don't know. Do the Lord's work. You gotta get on Just Watch. You gotta figure it out somewhere. God, I hated that. What else did we watch? We also watched Damsel.
Oh, right.
Which was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I actually really liked Damsel.
It gave me a misdirect a couple of times. I didn't think we were going to quite get the movie I wanted out of it, but it brought it through at the end.
No, I really liked the weaseling out a contract element that the bad guys of that are trying to, like, well, we got to sacrifice some daughters, but technically if we marry in somebody, they take the family name, so like...
And that the dragons... the only thing that infuriated me about it is that for most of the movie, the dragon is fully falling for it.
Yeah, the dragon is chumped for a lot of this movie.
Yeah.
Up until the end, where I thought was like the only way that movie could end, with like 2 fists in the air, like, yeah!
Yes,
like,
yes,
let's
let's burn this city to the
burn
ground.
this motherfucker down!
Yeah. So, man, Millie Bobby Brown continues to be a badass. I hope she gets more roles like this. She seems to be picking fun stuff.
I think so. There's still another season of Stranger Things to come out.
Right.
Like, she has a while to trade on this.
If you've got Netflix right now and you're waiting
power.
on that next Stranger Things, go ahead and watch Damsel. It's really fun. I've also been continuing my Magicians watch, so I'm almost through. I'm halfway through the last season of Magicians.
Sure.
Caught up a little bit on Night Court, which
okay.
I feel like in the second season has gotten more into its groove of the type of sitcom it's supposed to be, the type of sitcom it rebooted.
Right.
The first season tried to do a little bit of connective tissue, and the second season just said fuck all that. And it's great. Silly little sitcom I'm enjoying.
I didn't even think Night Court had a connective tissue with itself when it was on.
No, and that's the thing. It's like when they started running things out of order and stuff, I was like, there you go. There you go. It's like X-Men continuity. What are you talking about? Fanny and I have started watching kept watching the Hulu High Fidelity show again.
Oh, okay.
God, I love that show. It remains just such a great show of how to do an adaptation and change something so it's not the source material, but nods to it in a way that you're like, oh yeah, I see you. Then, just in a silly mood, Fanny and I watched Spaceballs.
All right, that's fun.
I had not seen Spaceballs in quite a while.
Sure.
I feel like I will forever owe my grandfather a debt of gratitude for sitting in the back of a theater politely, where he could see a little bit of the light through the projector door to do a crossword puzzle and ignore the fact that we'd made him take us to Spaceballs. And I remember him sitting through Three Amigos
What, he didn't love them actually combing the desert?
Man, my Jewish grandfather did not find either of these movies amusing.
Soulless.
My Abu was not amused.
Come on.
Let's see what else.
Well, I mean, the latest episode of The Rookie, which I kind of barely remember.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep watching The Rookie, but that's about all I can say about The Rookie. Right now.
They give Thornton his own kind of
episode.
Like he's like, they're finally giving him attention, which honestly, this season's been really mean to him.
Right.
So
right.
like, it's about time.
I shouldn't say I by saying I don't remember what happened in the last, like, that makes it sound like the season really dropped off or something. It's running in it's in neutral right now. Like,
yeah,
they haven't stepped on the gas, but they haven't like swerved into a ditch. It's a very good sign that they remembered Thorsten's a character on the fucking show.
I think they were even finding a serial killer that's like, or a copycat serial killer, but I don't know.
Well, that was kind of cool. Like, basically somebody tries to cover up a murder by blaming it on a serial killer, not knowing that
serial killer is actually dead.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, well, he was never caught, so no one knows who it is. Like,
right.
Man, well, his widow knows.
His wife knows. So fucking.
That was I thought that was cool. I watched I guess a few years old movie called Sing Street. It's about Irish kids that start a band in a secondary school, like a really rough public school. Like, this kid's just getting wailed on at school every day. There's one girl standing on the steps across the street smoking a cigarette, and he's like, "Who the hell is that? She's hot." He walks over to talk to her, and she's I think she says she's a model. She's clearly not. She's
okay,
like from a girls' school or something. And in the course of the conversation, he's like, "Oh, well, you should be in the music video for my band." Because it's like mid-'80s and his brother's been watching MTV constantly.
Sure.
And so like the start of the movie, like, this kid turns back around and walks over to his friend and he's like, we have to start a band
right now.
So they start a band and they put her in the video for it. It was really cute. It was a really fun movie. It's called Sing Street. The most fun, I think Godzilla X Kong's the most fun you're going to have at the movies. You should go see it. Probably the most fun theme day I had at the movies this past week, though, was seeing Immaculate on Easter Sunday with Fanny.
Sure. Yeah, Sydney Sweeney
nun movie on Easter, where she gets immaculately conceived with the risen Christ.
I'm just gonna assume the immaculately is in heavy air quotes there.
Oh yeah.
You don't
see
know.
it. Yeah, no idea when that happens, but wow, does she become pregnant? It's good and creepy for the first couple of acts. The main complaint I've seen against it is that people think it doesn't go hard enough early on. Well, but I think they do that in service of it being at least somewhat a believable monastery or abbey. Because I've seen so many movies where you're watching it going, no not even the Catholic Church would let that run.
Like, yeah, no person would not be suspicious of how creepy, yeah.
But here, like, the only two people that are suspicious are the two Italian guys at the, like, when she's literally, like, showing her passport, like, coming through immigration. And they're both, like, they're questioning her going to this nunnery, but it's also coming from a place of, like, you're too pretty to do this to yourself so young. And, like, so she's like, yeah, cool, thanks. Just let me go to my nunnery, please. The third act of it does go hard, though.
Holy shit! You're telling me the fucking how this movie, the title card at the end of this movie is
a fist in the air, like,
god damn.
Holy shit, man! I would say if you like blasphemous,
if this week in the movie has been great for child violence,
absolutely.
Between this and Godzilla times Kong, where he whoops people with a baby,
just whoops other apes with a smaller ape. Yeah, I really loved Immaculate. I loved the ending of this movie. I'm so glad I saw it. We were literally the only two people in the theater on Easter for this thing, and I'm so glad because I cheered so loud at the end. Oh man, so fun, friggin' awesome.
Pray, dear child, pray. You may ask for whatever you need. Just know what you receive, it will come from me. If you thought this was to God, I'm sorry to deceive. You vowed a life of poverty, chastity, obedience to God. My fellow nun,
Well, that feels like a good time to mention our Patreon once again.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. What?
Netflix finally dropped the last Physical 100s.
Oh, right.
Physical 100 Season 2, man. We got to find out if Thanos had the stamina to make it or not.
He didn't.
He did not.
Told you.
Have the stamina.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did not. But Physical 100 Season 2 was badass. I still think Season 1 was better. I like the boat and the bridge as challenges better.
I think the Season 2 game makers had a problem balancing this one here. Like, a lot of this ended up being strength-based.
Right. And not so much endurance, like, not so much speed or other things. The first season felt more balanced as to, like, big burly dudes would get into these challenges and then not be able to do them.
Right.
In Season 1, it felt like.
Yeah, this one was harder on the smaller body types, I think.
That said, the final challenge. Well, like, so they when they brought it down to the last four of them, we got to see them do the body weight,
the revival thing from
cool.
last season.
I love that.
Bringing that back.
They didn't do it, so I'm glad I got to see that again. That's harder than people think it is, and it's always cool to watch.
Right.
Because when Justin failed on that one, you could see him gripping like a maniac.
It was hard to
just he couldn't hold it. And then they moved to the infinite squats, and I love that they kept asking how many squats it would be. Like, you fools!
It's called infinite squats.
Infinite squats. And they did infinite squats until I think that's what took out Andre.
It basically fucking.
Oh man, they just kept pouring more coal into these heavier buckets. That was really weird and industrial John Henry shit.
Yeah, it was. It was like 40s prison shit. It was weird.
And then we got down to the final thing, which was the coolest tug of war I've ever seen.
And it's so dead ass simple. It is a like a revolving
bar on a post in the middle.
Yeah, and you had to push it to your side.
Right. Yeah, there's like a thing to knock over, and you just got to like push your side around, which is going to shove the other dude back.
And it went back and forth, and watching the guy who ends up winning, Amadi, he loses the first round. And in the second round, he's doing everything he can. Like, he's just trying everything.
Changing his script, changing his thing.
Like, he doesn't know he doesn't know what's going to work until at the very end, he figures out
something works.
Like, the lower center of gravity, he pushes down so that the other guy's center of gravity goes up.
There's like less
on
than
the
a
pendulum.
foot, like probably half a foot of movement up and down on this bar that you can wiggle it. You know,
Yeah.
like the way that you can feel a merry-go-round kind of bounce back and forth.
Right.
And he figures out that by pushing down on his side, he'll raise it, changes the center of gravity for the other dude, and boom, he can push it.
Yeah.
It is one of the rare times on this show where you watch someone strategy-wise fuck around, figure it out, realize it, and then immediately capitalize on it.
Yeah.
It is what makes Physical 100 fun for me, is the occasions when that shit happens. It's like Sexy Yama finding the way to set the boards down and to crawl on his hands and knees in the first season.
I
know that sounds like a crazy sentence.
It's the crawl kick thing they do on the monkey bars this season, where they were crawl kicking on it. Like, there's like watching people like the right way to do it, or like not even just the right way, but the best way you can think of.
Lifting the boat before you move it. Yeah. It's genius. Once again, I cannot believe how much this show suckers me in, and how much I enjoy it, how much I cannot wait for there to be a season 3. And a tournament of champions. Please do this fast enough to give me a
You need to at
tournament
least have 5 years, probably. Like the 5th year, you might be able to do it.
I'm scared at 5 years you can't get Sexy Yama back without killing him.
I don't know. Even at, like, what was it, 45 he was? Like,
yeah. So even at 50, that dude's going to
he's going to be pretty...
Oh, my God.
But
if you don't know who Sexy Yama is, go watch season 1 of Physical 100. I don't even know what to do with it. I can't talk to you. And I don't know her name, the blonde weightlifter woman. I am so sad that her team got knocked out.
Yeah, her team got knocked out.
Because she was phenomenal to watch. She was absolutely amazing to watch do these things. Like, you just couldn't believe she could do these things. Which again, like, the whole joy of the show is just watching people like, how many pull-ups did so-and-so do? I bet I can do one more. Like, these people are just maniacs. And I kind of love it.
Go to sleep when I got you next to me.
maybe now's a good time to mention the TV Dudes on Patreon. If you like the show, you can, support us for $1 an ep for bonus content. You'll get double the pod each week. This week, our bonus content will be Les continuing his Avatar watch with Legend of Korra Season 1.
Yes, Book 1 Air.
Or Book 4 Air. No, wait, Book 1 of Korra? I don't know how it actually works.
Chapter 2 of Book 3.
Also, we don't mention this every time, but what also helps out the show is if you haven't rated and reviewed it yet on iTunes.
Yes, if you happen to be listening to the show on iTunes or
rate and
on
review
Spotify,
helps
throw
it
us
out.
a review. It really helps us out.
But yeah, I think that's it for this week. Should we get to our main title?
Yes, let's dive into Renegade Nell over on Disney Plus.
Who is she? This Nellie Jackson?
A highway woman.
She fights as though she's possessed.
She's unnatural. She is formidable.
You don't want to mess with me.
I'm on your side.
What?
I'll protect you.
We must deal with Nell Jackson. No mortal will touch her.
I'm beginning to wonder if you're not destined for very great things.
If you haven't heard of Nell Jackson, then you're the only person in England who hasn't.
I didn't know a whole lot about this show. I honestly, until a couple of months ago, didn't know it existed. I think John Paul might have hipped us to it.
I think so.
Saying, hey, did you know that Orla is in a new show?
I don't know. He says a lot of things of that I don't find interesting anyway. But every once in a while there'll be oh, that actually does sound interesting.
Yeah. John Paul watches more shows than Nick and I combined.
Man, you think we watch some shit?
John Paul has dipped a toe in all of the waters. And comes back to report, and sometimes we agree. Sometimes I'm shocked how much I love the show. And then sometimes it's not for me. But Renegade Nell was a good call. I mean, I feel like it's safe to assume whatever the actress that played Orla was going to do next, we were going to at least watch an episode of.
Well, I was very impressed with her as a main lead. Orla was a very funny character, but a very strange, she only really had the one note to play and couldn't really go beyond that. So watching her play this dashing rogue hero type, reluctant hero,
right,
really sold to me. And I thought she really nailed it.
I thought she did a fantastic job. What's her name? Louisa?
Yeah, as far as main cast, it's really about our main character, Nell.
Yeah. Louisa Harland is Nell.
And she does a great job with that. The villain, played by Mickey Briggs from fucking...
Mickey Briggs, from Hustle.
Poynton, I think is his name. Poynton. And he's a great fucking bad guy. He's really...
man, he is so...
laying it on thick,
Also, the way the creepiness in magic works is just fantastic. Adrian Lester is his name.
And then I also
feel like there's supposed to be something that I'm supposed to love more about the fairy in the show.
Right. Well, Devereaux is also one of my favorite. Those three characters are Devereaux is the how she learns to be a highwayman from this guy, and he's just having a blast being a cad.
Yes, Frank Delane.
And those three are the standouts of the show. Everyone else is a little generic. Nell has a posse of crew, her sisters and her the dude that likes her sister, and I don't think that even relationship really goes anywhere. I feel like they don't even share screen time.
No, they barely. Yeah, Rassalis, which I mean, he has a little bit of an arc of finding out his real name and stuff, and not an arc. He has a sad backstory, but really most of what happens with the romance is Nell saying, "Please stop hitting on my sister."
Right. And mentioning how much older he is than her, when I'm how much older is he and what time period are you in?
What time period is this?
This is not, I don't think this is going to be this deal breaker you think it is. And then there's two sub-villains that are also not quite as interesting as Poynton, but do the work of kind of picking up where he left off when he gets kind of takes an early L in the season and has to like kind of recover. But they're all serviceable. Where I think character-wise, the only character that really falls down for me is the fairy Billy Blind.
Man, I am starting to have to wrestle with the idea that I don't find Nick Mohammed charming or talented on screen other than Ted Lasso.
Well,
I've seen him in 3 other shows now.
I think I will give him it could be the writing. Billy Blind is written to not know why why he's here. He's here to protect Nell, like to keep her from dying. He doesn't know why. He doesn't know who who told him to do this.
He kind of seems like an idiot when you ask him direct questions.
Yeah, and well, he thinks about it and he's like it slips from his mind. So there's some fey magic going on that he can't tell. He's simultaneously the most useful character on the show because he provides all the powers, but also he's simultaneously useless.
Right. Like he keeps flying out of her and then back into her, which I don't understand. It just makes me nervous.
It's so that they can have a conversation without him being in her head, I guess.
Except that every conversation with him, he's also in the worst haircut.
Yeah, his haircut's
like Billy Bob Thornton season 1 of Fargo bad.
Honestly, it's a little on the nose, but he needs a pixie cut.
Right. It's just so I loved this show.
Oh, the show itself has a great.
I don't like Billy.
Right. Well, you don't like what sucks is that we don't like the Billy's the story engine of well, not even that because she just has powers. The story engine is dealing with her dad and got kind of these Jacobite
trying to
plot.
overthrow the queen.
And as far as we know, the fairy stuff is completely unrelated to that.
Right.
We're gonna have to wait for a season 2, I guess, to even see why she has power. Like, it's never even hinted why she has these powers, where they come from. Her sister even seems to have a guardian angel helping her out or some similar thing.
Right.
And it's not even touched upon in the final episode.
It just happens.
Like,
I deeply want this to get a season 2 because I have questions about how the world works. But mostly, even though this is how remarkably charming the rest of the show is, even though I was infuriated with the rule set for how Billy worked and for how Nick Mohammed played him. I like everyone else in the show. I like the world. I like the weird level of danger and threat for a Disney show.
Oh yeah, people get one dude gets shot in the face, like right in the head,
and then his ghost with the
bullet hole has a
like the dead horse in the first scene.
That's a dead ass horse, man. Like I realized
that dead horse, but
you think there's if it's a dead horse, like there's a varying degrees of dead, and that horse is very dead. Like it's not off screen, kind of hidden dead. That was like flies gathering around it, fucking dead. And the black magic has a great, as far as how the light magic, fey magic doesn't seem to be explained. There's a great intrinsic logic to the black magic.
Yes.
They kind of teach you how the black magic works without sitting you down to lecture about it.
Yes. And so as things come apart for the black magic practitioners later or change or whatever, you kind of get a feeling of how it's working, more or less.
There's, he's summoning this horseman, but also the horseman can get hurt and he gets hurt.
That said, so all of that builds, the black magic all makes sense until it doesn't. There's a moment in those last 2 episodes kind of came apart a little bit. There's a moment at the end where the sister that's black, like she does what should work the same as the last time, raising this creature from the ground. It goes in rampages. You run it like a puppet. Only she possesses another living human. And it plays out a little differently. It doesn't not work.
I think that was that episode written or directed by a different person than the rest of it because it feels conflicting. Right. There's one, it starts with a print, the print machine printing out a message. Yeah. And you think it's the guardian angel of the sister because she's the one that reads it. Yeah. But no, it's the possession person, only for her to possess the person and just say what's on the note out loud. Mm-hmm. So it's pointless. It's like, oh, you had 2 cool ideas and didn't want to give one of them up.
That's exactly what it felt like. It was like,
and how they resolve that. Because that episode is the only time, like the rest of this has a great fun tone, and the fact that you can't quite tell what tone, like it's fun and cute, but also really kind of sinister and weird. Like people die and it's kind of dark. That episode starts with a musical number.
Yes, a full on. I mean,
That-
I'm watching a lot of magicians, so it wasn't that weird for me. But it's weird in this show. It's the only time it happens.
That seems to be at least somewhat diegetic, because
Right. there is like a town crier that is singing that song because
Right.
someone else hums it and sings it later.
but I don't think the whole town is singing it like they
Not
seem to be.
choreographed. I don't
But
think.
and then how did they defeat the spell at the end of that episode is one of the sisters sings a song about Nell, about the truth of it.
Mhm.
And I had no idea why that worked.
No,
I really did not follow that at
No.
all.
like just cuteness. Like we were talking about Billy's powers being slightly bit based, and that feels out of the blue.
which was astonishing at that point, because the black magic seemed to have a distinct logic to
Right.
it, and I was weird.
I would say overall, Renegade Nell is a mixed bag. It's not a flawless show.
Mhm.
That said, there's so much more good than bad here. Like
Well, how it starts
80 or
opening,
90 good.
it opens
to
with the
10 or
highway
20 bad.
robbery that she interrupts,
Oh, which
and
is
it's
fantastic.
pretty great.
Great action scene.
Yeah.
Great bullet catch. She is, when she knows she's invulnerable, she's great about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just a whole lot of like, bring it then. Like up. And I can't stress enough how magnetically charming the lead is. She needs to be in lead parts. She's fucking great. I love Nell so much.
She has that great level of like her reluctant hero, to where she'll try and be like, okay, well, I guess we should try and save Devereaux. Like, he did help us out. Oh, well, I guess we tried. It's impossible. Like,
there we go.
There's like 3 guards, and it'd be a whole thing.
She could walk straight into the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie and be perfect.
Yeah, she feels like she should be hanging out with Chris Pine.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the Isambard Tully or the Charles Devereaux.
Yeah, that whole mix up.
He goes into like normally I would hate that storyline because it distracts from our main thing, but the whole trial he's put on is really fun. He is a fun enough character that honestly, when he's in the opening scene, and I swear to God, like he gets taken up by her, and I was like, dude, if this show is not about him, I'm gonna be mad. Like, he's immediately charming. But otherwise, I think it starts strong, and then when it because it's the first episode's like, okay, they don't have to pay off anything or explain how a lot of this works yet. And then later, when it comes time to like pay that bill, they don't quite have the scratch. They, it's genuinely shocking to me they don't explain the sisters' powers. Like, not only like do they don't explain it, they don't hint at it.
No,
they don't use it. They don't use
concerned.
it as a tease for season 2.
No,
they don't.
There's really not a tease for season 2. They're going back to the bar.
Yeah, so it's a truly unexplained power or thing in the world that is at this point I can't. What's weird is I can't even theorize about it because they don't give enough hints to really do anything with.
Blind guessing. Yeah, it does look like MJ Delaney directed, the same director for all the episodes, and Delaney directed a bunch of Ted Lasso. So yeah, I don't know why it does feel like there's a change in the last 2 for me.
Look, I'm not saying you have to explain everything about the Force. God knows the prequels try and fail at doing that, but maybe a little bit more than it exists.
Right. Don't go midichlorian on me, but just a little bit more. Yeah. So it's not often that we get to talk about a show on here that where I don't feel solidly one way or another. Like this is a flawless show, and I will fight you if you talk about it, or God, I hate the show. Please never mention it to me again.
After the first
It's often how I come down.
After 3 episodes, I was like, this show is to lose, because I was so in, and it does lose a little bit. Like it doesn't quite stick that landing like it really needs to.
Yeah, the last 2 episodes, particularly the last episode, didn't quite satisfy.
But it also doesn't faceplant. Like the final fight with Poynton is really good.
It walks away from the landing for sure.
Devereaux, like in the thing they do with the Queen double switch, is
I love
fun.
all of that. I love the Queen,
and that was all set up like that again. Like the logic of it, the logic of the scheme and the final fight works.
It's that I cared about the face stuff in a way that the show didn't.
Well, I
will just, I don't have an easy fix for it, but I don't like how Billy works.
I feel like I'll always care about how the rules, something that rules more about how it works, because that's just how like the nerd discourse of like, we love speculating about how things work and rarely are ever satisfied when they're explained.
Right.
hey, we want to know we want to know what happened to Wolverine. What was he like? No, you fucking
not like that.
don't.
Cool, I'll tell you. Nope, turns out you're wrong.
Man, what was the galaxy like when there was a bunch of Jedi? Oh, turns out I didn't actually want to see that.
It's my
Damn
bad.
it. No, it was cooler when they were mysterious Ronin. Yeah, and I see that now. But it's like this show doesn't care at all.
About the sisters thing particularly.
About the sisters thing, or even Billy.
Or even where, why is he protecting her? Did I miss an explanation?
No, why he's protected her, he thinks like it must be for something important, and then he comes
to stop pointing.
And then he comes up with reasons himself, like,
right.
Oh, maybe to fight injustice, and it's all really generic. And
but all of his reasons he comes up with himself are after she's already asked him a bunch of questions in a conversation that very much shows that you should not ask Billy direct questions.
Yeah,
like he will not. So when he starts spitballing later, I'm like, hey, dude, so you don't know, we proved that.
And they don't use
so,
it.
Like, stop guessing.
They don't use it to like tease out part of the Fae or make it mysterious. It's so not there. It's not even mysterious. It's non-existent.
No, I know more about how Peter Pan works.
I would add in a scene of like, okay, so it slips from his mind when he tries to think about it. Okay, well then maybe have a scene where Nell tries to trick him into like, you know, those exercises, like the first word exercises.
Right. Like where he says something offhand and then like, hey, what did you just say?
Like I
don't know.
Like every once in a while when he's not thinking about it, he should
drop some lore.
And then when people ask him about it and he's like, and they askfully focus, he's like, oh shit, no, I lost, but did I say that?
That's beautiful. I really want a character somewhere that can only say lore when they're not directly thinking about it.
Right. When it's intrinsic to what's going on,
right.
or
if you showed him a TV episode similar to what we're facing,
like
they might accidentally say, well, that's like what we're doing. Is it? Shit, I don't know now.
And honestly, you'd keep the plot convenient, not giving away any answers you don't want to give away for it, but also keeping the
he's in
mysterious element of it.
Billy's inability to help while being the most helpful thing is pointedly infuriating to me.
Right. Well,
because like I think we even yelled at one point of like, how are you useless and also invaluable?
Well, he's like even when he's trying to tell her like, I feel something bad coming.
God, and that's the scene.
It's a useless warning.
Yeah, no one else in the room can see him because he's a fairy, except her little sister, which is not explained. Sometimes. So they're sitting in a room. She's trying to keep her cover because they're pretending to be other people because she's wanted. And Billy just keeps appearing right in front of her nose and yelling, I have a bad feeling. Which makes her look like an insane person.
Right.
And like, dude, you're going to get me thrown in a brig.
And later there's when they show like,
dungeon or whatever.
I think he goes like, I think we should go to the papers and, you know, tell them the truth or like, and make sure that everyone knows the truth. Okay. How do we do that? Oh, I thought that would be your bit. So Billy is one of my most hated characters. Walking Dead, Dale in the Walking Dead, the first 2 seasons, I hated him. And the reason I did was because he was the guy that brought up problems with no solutions. He was the guy that was like, we can't just, we have a prisoner. We can't just kill them. Cool, Dale. What do we do with this prisoner in this apocalypse? Do we feed them? Like, do we feed them resources? Do we like let them go so they can tell people where they are? What's the play here, Dale? Like, he's like, well, morally we can't. And I'm like, fuck you morally.
We should take away his bending, Nick.
Give me a practical solution, you son of a bitch.
Yeah,
and,
no, I hate that shit.
And Billy is the same way.
Yeah.
He's all moral thing of like injustice. Maybe we should fight, or
it's even,
he's philosophical.
It's even worse to me because what if Dale had near infinite power?
Yeah.
And when you pointed out, hey, a solution would be for you to magically fix it. Oh, well, I won't use my magic for that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Then stop discussing this with me.
Well, maybe then, maybe stop bringing this up because it's really starting to piss me off.
This is really starting to piss me off. I hope to God they get a season 2. I want more Renegade Nell. I just want more of Louisa Harland.
Absolutely.
Kicking ass.
Yeah. Like
just whooping ass.
Honestly, give her, some more action stuff.
Man, put her and Betty Gilpin in just some ass whooping buddy cop thing. I would watch the shit out of that.
Like, honestly, in the rogue thing helps with the period piece element of it. Like, I really liked it.
Well, all of it is out on Disney Plus now. I think folks should absolutely go check out Renegade Nell.
Yeah, I don't think you'll regret it.
You will not.
We're sticklers on some of the.
You will probably not even be half as annoyed as I was with anything in it.
We're sticklers on like the face stuff of like, well, if you're gonna bring this up and like, it feels lazy to not.
Like, is he a triad or a nymph? Like, kind of fae is no. I don't mean to be.
Honestly, if this was gonna be watched by more people, which I hope it is, but don't think it will be. I would think that they're theory farming for like, let's not explain the Fae and then let the
Let's
first
just see
season
what Reddit
go
says.
and see what Reddit says the day after.
I would swear you were right if I thought that was the play here.
Yeah, but I don't think they're even that clever about it. I really don't think they want to put that much work into it.
No, I think you're right. One more thing I did want to mention, the best character on the show for me, hands down, ends up being the crazy girl that they just pick up in the course of highway robbery.
Well, it's actually another great example of how this show is great at setup and knockdown. Because in the first episode, the first scene, she's there.
Yes.
And she sees Nell and is like, oh, who's this?
And I
who's this
totally
fella?
forgot about her.
Also, you have to pretend that everyone thinks Nell is a dude, even though like Nell doesn't really read.
They run that joke like 3 times where somebody like
leans
leans into
in and can't even recognize. I'm like, look, I mean, I'm not saying that she's entirely feminine, but I don't think I would. If I was describing her to a sketch artist, I immediately would say female.
Like that manly actress Louisa Harlan. Like it's just not.
It's not. I don't think that's not going to be the first people's description. No. I don't think. But yeah, she's like, are you going to tie us up? I'm like, well, I mean, I need rope or whatever. Like, well, we could get it, if you wanted to. And like immediately weird. She immediately makes it weird.
Yes. Ashna Rabharu. She plays Polly Honeycomb and absolutely rocks it. She's also in sex ed. That's right. She's Gwen in sex ed.
But later in an episode, like we go a couple episodes without seeing her, and then later she ends up being kidnapped with one of the sisters.
Yes,
and
they think she's Roxy,
and she's writing. And her narration, that entire episode, we think is just narration. She's actually writing the hostage note.
Yes,
she's writing the ransom note, and she can't write anything without it being this prose.
Right.
Like
they end up making her editor of a newspaper, which is wonderful.
Which is actually a great payoff for that later of like, oh right, because she writes Nell of like a bunch of shit about like crazy stalkerish shit about Nell.
It's so much. And like all of these are like, and this is when I knew that by I wasn't robbed by happenstance twice. Nell has a crush on me. And like it's because the highwayman and she thinks Nell's a man the whole time, which leads to my favorite moment in the show, which is when she thinks she's rescued by this highwayman.
Yeah.
And grabs Nell and plants this kiss on Nell.
Yeah.
And then realizes like midway through, like, not a dude.
Mm-hmm.
Checks it internally and is still down.
Yeah, like it takes her a minute. It takes her a minute to like, ooh. I'm gonna reconcile with that. But then after that minute, she's like, and I've decided I'm good with it.
Like highwayman, not a man. Like it's a very Darcy, Janet, like not a girl, kind of moment. And she like stops like,
she's gonna take it.
Highway woman.
I'm gonna take a personal inventory of this.
Okay.
And all right, I've done a lot of soul searching. You've been gone for 5 minutes.
Yes.
Like a lot of soul searching, and I've decided that I am definitely down.
Like Nell is still just baffled. Like, who the fuck are you?
She takes the kiss in stride and just kind of goes, all right. Like, I'm like, yeah, she does not know who this person is.
No,
like,
but Nell just rolls with
like,
this shit.
Nell has a straight up swim fan. Yeah. Like, just.
Yeah, Nell's attitude in that is perfect, and it sums up what I love about Louisa Harlan's characterization of Nell.
Yeah, like just about like she takes the punches as well as the kisses.
Right.
Like she gets punched in the face and like, oh well, okay, and that was a beating I don't think I deserved, and like there's a kiss like I don't think I deserved that kiss either.
Hey,
you know what?
That's life.
That's life. You get some knocks and you get some kisses you don't deserve, baby. Like whether or not you deserve them is up to your own self-worth, I think. No, I appreciated her character, and overall, I really did like Renegade Nell as a complete story.
Well, I think that's about all from us for now. Tune in next week. We're going to talk about Ripley, which is the new Talented Mr. Ripley series.
Right.
Done in black and white, starring
I'm
Hot
sorry,
Priest.
what?
Yeah, it's done. It's full noir.
Yeah,
I knew that was going to drop your face a little.
Okay.
And it stars Hot Priest from and Moriarty from the Sherlock.
I mean, if it's not Werewolf by Night, black and white kind of reads as pretentious bullshit to me. But whatever.
We'll see if this works as Maltese Falcony or if it comes off as just douchey.
I mean, they did it in an entire like half season of American Horror Story, but again, that was kind of part of the
kind
kitsch.
of campy.
Like, it was the kitsch
that
of
was
it.
leaning towards camp. This is not going to be camp.
No.
So I'm interested to see how this goes. That was also, I was not thrilled to find out the original, the Talented Mr. Ripley movie's not black and white. Like, I was a little...
Why?
Why do this?
I just don't know.
We'll see. Tune in next week to find out just how much Nick hates it. And until next time.
TV Dudes out.
It's probably shorter than the whole episode a little bit.
That one was my radio voice. TV Dudes out.